All right, guys, number 14 on Lock Picking Lebowski's treasure chest. Man, I can't wait to see what's inside of there, but we got a few more locks to go. This is a Fort, and this is a tubular lock made in the USA, and these used to be the locks of choice. They were incredibly difficult to pick when they first came out, but they came out with impressioning tools, and of course, that's what I'm going to use today on this, but I want to talk about those a little bit, because every time I find one of these locks and I pull out this tool, countless numbers of you say, Bill, that's the expensive one. Why don't you use the cheap ones from Klums and Banggood? And guys, well, here's why. We'll try it. I'll demo why. I do have a set of the Klums, and these are like 30, 35 bucks. I don't recall offhand from Banggood. And they come as a set of three different sizes. So you think right away, well, I get 3 times the number of picks, but they're actually different sizes. And I think we want the 7.8. I think this one is the most common. Unless you live in China, you really don't have any use for the other two. So this would be the right size, and those other two you got to move to China to use them. So let's take a look at this guy. What do I really like about these, and what do I find challenging? Yeah, well, I really like the solid aluminum handles, knurled, and it is, pretty substantial to hold in your hand. I'll grant them that. Very fine machine work. One thing I really like is there's a piece of metal built into the bottom piece of steel, and this little ring slides down, and that's what's used to zero all of those little rings. You just push them forward, and it zeroes them very quickly, and then the magnet kind of sucks it back up there, and it doesn't shake off. Kind of cool. That's one of the gripes I have about the Southord. Now, the Southord does come with this little ring. I keep it in the box. It was originally around that shaft, and you can use it to zero everything out. The thing I didn't like about it is it kind of hangs there free and it jingles a lot. I found the sound pretty irritating. So I took mine off and now I just zero everything manually. All right. The other thing we need to worry about, and probably the most challenging thing about tubular locks, is getting the right compression on those 7 tines that come out of there. And there are 7 of them. In order to keep compression on the tines on this Klums lock, you see up in the front here, they've got these little... When I was a kid, I had braces a long time ago, and these were the little rubber bands that caused me so much pain. Well, these little silicone bands compress those 7 little tines, and otherwise, when you impression it, without those, as soon as you pushed it in, those tines would all squish up, and you would never get it open. So you have to maintain compression on those. This is really hard to do because a lot of locks require different levels of compression on those tines. Some of them have stronger strings, weaker springs, security pins, no security pins. So this is absolutely critical to having a successful open. You probably can do it with this tool, but you got to get the feel, find out what it's doing, and then add or subtract silicone bands. Takes a lot of time. This one, not so much. They machined a collet into the front of this. So if you're moving along and it's not working for you, all you got to do, you re-zero everything with your thumb, or if you left the washer on there, push them all forward, and then give this an extra little turn, a little more torque. And that automatically compresses all those tines a little more, and then you keep going. It doesn't work, you re-zero it, tighten it a little more, keep going. So very quick tool. They took the time to do a little more machine work, a little more design work, and that's why this one seems to work so much better. And you don't believe me, so we're going to demo it. First of all, I'm going to use this guy. I've got, 5 or 6, maybe even more than that, of the silicone bands. So I've got it zeroed all the way down. Suck that back, and let's try it. Okay, when you look at the tines right away, you can see a couple of them are already mashed up to the highest possible position. So I'm going to re-zero it and push them all back down, and that's because there's not enough compression. So I'm going to take another one and put it on there. And then inside of the bag, they also give you some really thick ones. So I'm going to put 2 of those on there. Whoop. Try it again. These things really are tight. And let me try one more, because this lock has very strong springs. And I can tell you from their website, they also have security pins. So we need as much tension on there as we can get. Let's try it again. Now it's starting to do it. And there we go. Finally got it open. So it does work. It just takes a little bit more time. Let's lock this guy back up. And let's make sure that our South Ord tool is all zeroed. I'm going to put just a little bit of tension on there. That'll be about right. And now let's try this guy. He's already open. Let's see if we can lock him back. And this is another disadvantage. Unless you have the lockdown feature, there's no guarantee that you can decode the lock with this tool. So let me find the arrow, line it up, and see if by chance it kept. It did. Thank goodness. Okay, so it did work that time. Let's try this guy. Light him on there. Get in there. And let's see how long it takes this guy to open it up. Okay, I've got this one turned down pretty stiff. And there we go. Now, the beauty on this one is once you get it open, you tighten that nut as tight as it will go, and now you know it's going to work every single time, and you can positively decode this thing and make yourself another key. This one with no lockdown feature, I really wouldn't trust that to do that kind of thing. In this case, we got lucky, it did work, but if it didn't, we would have actually had to impression this thing again to relock it. So those are the differences between the tools. There's a difference in price, yes, but like everything, guys, you get exactly what you pay for. Appreciate your time. Stay safe. Stay legal. Man, what's next? Oh, a camel lock. All right.